If you want to take a couple minutes to introduce yourself to our audience who don't know you, who aren't familiar with you, and also tell a little bit of your story, that would be wonderful.
Yeah. So my name's Ralph, and I was part of the Jack.org summit last year. So hopefully there are some viewers out there who were there at that beautiful church in Toronto. But for me, mental health has always been a part of my life and something that I've become more comfortable speaking about as, you know, in my artistry over the last couple years, just because I think it's not something that you can kind of hide or suppress forever. And I think that in this climate, it actually, there's so much encouragement and support from fans and from fellow artists to be honest and to talk about it. And I think that it's actually like a really interesting way for fans to get a better sense of you and understand you as a person, as an artist too. And I try to kind of incorporate it into my music as well. I've struggled with eating health and eating disorders for many, many years. And then kind of stemming from that, I think, was anxiety that kind of came on in the last 3 or 4 years. And as, an artist who's often not home and traveling a lot and kind of in new places. And, for me, a routine is really important. For me, like being in control and feeling like I kind of understand a routine has always helped my anxiety. And so being an artist who often, loses that kind of, that comfort and that safety of home, it's been an interesting journey kind of trying to figure out how to maintain that and how to cultivate that on my own. And it's been really soothing and therapeutic actually speaking about it, and finally getting to a point in my kind of recovery and mental health where it's not something that I hide anymore. I talk pretty publicly about it, and like the feedback that I've got from fans and like the outreach from people who who I don't know, who've written me beautiful, lovely, supportive messages, or say like, thank you so much for talking about it, or writing songs about these things. It definitely encourages me to continue to do so. So it's such a pleasure to be a part of the summit last year and to do something like this. Because I think right now it's crazy to be like, everyone in the world is in the same situation. And we are all kind of struggling with the same feelings. And one of those feelings is definitely, this feeling of unknown and lack of control. And I'm really lucky to have a support system around me right now that's very soothing and calming. But I know that there are a lot of people out there who are also, by themselves or in situations where they just need some kind of comfort.
For all of you listening from the comfort of your own homes, feel free to add some questions in the comments, and if we have time, we would love to get to those. But I was wondering, as an artist and as a performer, so much of your work is based around, performing in front of large groups of people. And I know for myself personally, and many of my friends involved in the arts, just how difficult it is for artists right now to adapt to our current reality. So
Totally.
What has the shift been like for you?
At first I was on tour when everything kind of fell apart. Luckily, I only had 3 shows left, so I'm very lucky in that sense, because a lot of my friends in music were just about to embark on tours, and I can't imagine how hard that was to wrap, their heads around. For the first 2 weeks, I was like, because everything changed. Every day something new kind of was coming in, and it went from being like, oh yeah, a couple of weeks, like, oh, months and years. And it took me about 2 weeks to kind of adjust to this idea of like, okay, so what I do and what I'm used to is currently not a thing. And I don't think that it's like healthy or productive to sit around and twiddle my thumbs and wait until, I get to do that. So it's kind of been an interesting journey, I suppose, of, figuring out how to continue being an artist and connecting with, because for me, like, I love connecting with people. And if you've been to a show of mine, that like after a show, I go to the merch table and I don't just, say hi and bye. I talk to my fans. I love connecting with the people and seeing, the same faces. And so for me, like that in-person connection is really hard to lose. And I don't want to become irrelevant, I guess. And that's, I think, a fear that artists are having with this kind of when will we be able to perform again? It's like you want to keep engaging, you know, your fans and and kind of like engaging yourself with your own artistry. So I've been, like, you know, doing live has been really interesting, going on different Instagrams and doing different shows, and kind of looking forward to like applying for festivals, all virtual festivals and things. It's just like basically learning to wrap your head around change and just going with it instead of fearing it or you know, being too scared to kind of look and see what's out there. I think I've just kind of grown used to being like, okay, this is it now, this is what I'm doing now, and like, how does that, how can I be my best at that? And I think that humans are very adaptable and strong, so here's an opportunity for us to kind of flex that. I think I'm also someone who like, I like routine, and I like having like, I like knowing what I'm kind of looking forward to and what I'm doing. So it's been helpful. I'm also like a big list maker, because I find also like it's easy to feel overwhelmed. So like right now I started a Patreon account, I don't know, a month and a half ago. So I basically started this account where I said, like, to anybody who wants to become a patron of mine, you basically can choose between $3, $10, or $20 a month. And in return, I'm going to send you poems and drawings and unreleased songs and exclusive Q&As and all this stuff. And so that's been like an interesting way for me to stay connected with my fans, and has been like really fun for me because I've been doing not just singing but like actual art. And so every day I kind of like wake up and like include that in my day, and sometimes I feel overwhelmed with like what I kind of have to do, so I organize it out, and that makes me, I don't know, it makes me feel like my day is full. It makes me feel like I know what I'm doing, what I'm looking forward to, what is unfinished, what I'm moving on to. And I've been doing lots of writing sessions, which was definitely odd at first because I think, I don't know, like there's a certain creativity that happens when you're in a room with people and you're feeding off each other's excitement, and you're creating something on the spot, and then you're like, here, let me just hop in that booth and I'll just lay that down, you know, the vocals, and that's a special thing. And I was kind of like, okay, how do you recreate that when you're not with someone? Is that creativity, you know, affected? But I think that like the joy of making music, and that excitement of like writing good lyrics and writing a good song doesn't go away regardless of, you know, where you are. So that's, again, just you have to reorganize it and kind of like pivot, if you will, which has been the key word of the quarantine. You just gotta pivot, and because to me pivot is like turning gracefully, you know, you're not flailing, you're like pirouetting. So I'm trying to gracefully, intentionally just flip what I knew into the unknown, and, you know, continue to be just as productive as normal.
For sure. So with, you know, times being what they are, it's, like I said, more important than ever that we're taking care of ourselves, like finding these new routines. So how have you been taking care of yourself? Like, what have these routines been, like making sure that you're taking care of yourself first?
Well, for me, I've always been someone who, I find like running, not only is like just lovely because it gets you outside, but for me, it's a form of like therapy, and it also gets my mind working. So I leave behind anxiety or stress, and I end up just focusing on breathing and listening to music, and I often find myself writing lyrics when I run. So that's been a kind of like fun, I guess, you know, healthy, productive thing that I've been doing a lot of. And my roommate got into running, so now we're doing like little challenges together and kind of seeing like if we can improve our distance or our speed. So for me, like, you know, sort of a part of my healthy living is making sure that I'm like active, even on those days that I don't necessarily want to be. But in also touching on that, I think like it's being gentle with yourself as well. You know, even if you wanted to go for a run, but you woke up and you just weren't really in the mood. It's okay to not do it every day. Or if, you know, it's okay to like take a day off. And I'm someone who, like, with my work ethic and how my lifestyle normally operates, I don't really do chill time. I'm not really, I don't really like lie on the couch and like binge watch a TV show. That doesn't make me feel good. And that's totally like, if that's what makes you feel good, then by all means, that's great. I end up feeling really more stressed out. I feel like I'm like, I have so many things that I should be doing. So I'm kind of learning how to embrace that feeling of like, you know what? Like yesterday I was going to go for a run, and then my roommate was like, do you maybe just want to watch Listen to Your Heart, which is the new ABC Bachelor spinoff show that I watch. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's just watch the show, and I'm just going to not beat myself up for not going for a run. So it's kind of like finding this balance between letting yourself relax, which is something I haven't done in a while. And then also kind of like being like, you know what? I'm going to go out today because I need to go out, because normally I would go out once a day, and you know, I don't want to let that change. So yeah, kind of like finding that balance has been really helpful. And I think like connecting with, I think a lot of people have been doing this, like connecting with friends and family via you know, Zooms and Hangouts and FaceTimes. And again, it's like this balance where like the first week I went hard. I like every day was on like 3 FaceTimes. And at first I was like, this is awesome. I'm catching up with all my friends. This is great. And then I like just burnt myself out. So now I'm kind of finding this balance where it's like, just because you're home and everyone wants to FaceTime doesn't mean that you have to FaceTime all the time. It's okay to be like, hey, you know what? I'm actually really tired today. I like did a writing session all day, and I worked on a Patreon drawing, and like, I just want to chill by myself. So kind of like making sure that like, yeah, you can still say no, you know, people aren't going anywhere. Your friends will be forgiving if you just are like, hey, I'm feeling really emotionally drained today. I don't have it in me to like talk. Yeah, so I think it's like finding these funny balances between being like social via virtual world, and being creative and productive, but also making sure that you don't compare yourself. Like I think that's a huge thing, especially in the art world. Like everyone's posting on their Instagram being like, I'm writing, I'm running, I'm drawing, I'm cooking. You're like, oh, I'm not, I'm so garbage. But it's like, first of all, let's remember that on Instagram we're just posting our like best moments, you know?
For sure.
And also, yeah, I think everyone feels like they're not doing enough. So it's stupid. It's just, it's not healthy, and it doesn't help anyone to compare yourself to anyone else, I think. So yeah, don't get too stuck in virtual world. I think just because you can be on Instagram all day doesn't mean that you should be, or else you'll just fall down a weird hole where you're Pinteresting Nike rhinestone application, which is what I did yesterday.
Awesome. So what's your first song for us?
Just making you wait. We're gonna play Long Distance Lover. Wonderful. Which is a song from my album called Good Girl. And it is, I thought it was just kind of like apt for this moment, because it's about missing a long distance lover and trying to connect with them, but like you miss their call, they miss your call, the time difference kind of like screws you up. So yeah, I thought it was kind of relevant to this time in our lives. So this is an acoustic version, which is awesome. Fun. Also, this is Steve, by the way. This is my boyfriend. He's just been patiently sitting here. I'm very guitar guy. Just the guitar guy. Steve has been really helpful because I've been getting, asked to do different music things, and I do not normally play guitar for people. This is a good opportunity for me to like work on my guitar, and me and Steve did a show for Roots the other week where we did both play the guitar, which was fun, but Steve is a better guitarist than me, so we're gonna let him take this one today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And flip myself around so you guys can see my wonderful artwork.
Look at that artwork. Talking about creativity. All right. Yeah. Soy una animada sending me a picture of you under the covers. But when it's my fight tonight, kissing your clothes every time. Can we find a way to make this work? Ooh, tell me the reason. I thought we could season all the miles between you and I. But I hit my phone all the time, 'cause I'm sick of talking, just get in my radius. If you wanna make the distance simple, we could just meet up in the middle. I'm sick of talking, just get in my radius. If you wanna make the distance simple, we could just meet up in the middle. Oh, 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 oh. So you wanna be my long distance lover? Whisper to me while we do to each other. But when it's my 8, it's your midnight. Club's too loud with your voice right. Waiting up for you just makes it worse. Ooh, all the miles between you and I. But I hate my phone all the time, 'cause I'm sick of talking, just get in my radius. If you wanna make the distance simple, we could just meet up in the middle. I'm sick of talking, just get in my radius. If you wanna make the distance simple, we could just meet up in the middle. Oh, 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 oh. I was calling you, but you never picked up. Now you're calling me when I'm asleep. Staring at the screen on my cell phone. Promised you would call when you got home. Now I'm staring at the screen on my cell phone. Promised you would call. I'm sick of talking, just get in my radius. If you wanna make the distance simple, just meet up in the middle. I'm sick of talking, just get in my radius. If you wanna make the distance simple, we could meet up in the. I'm sick of talking, just get in my radius. Promise you would call. I'm sick of talking, just get in my radius. If you wanna make the distance simple, we could just meet up in the middle. Oh.
Well, that was just wonderful. Big round of applause from me all the way in BC.
That is the thing to get used to, is that when you finish performing on Instagram Live, you're like, and that's that.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Thank you. The hand claps from my cousin Miranda are lovely.
Wonderful. Oh my goodness, but that was just absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for that.
Thanks. Hopefully you guys can hear that okay.
Yeah. Volume and everything balanced was wonderful from my end.
Great.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
I have a question from Jessie.
Yeah.
Is there any chance I can tour South America?
Oh?
Well, not right now.
No.
But I mean, that's one of the cool things about doing music, is that you never know when an opportunity will pop up anywhere. We had an almost opportunity to go to China a while ago. And it, like, we were so close. We like almost went, and then our visas were very complicated and we couldn't end up going. But that was really cool for me because I'd never been to Asia before. So the idea of getting to travel and do music is pretty cool. So I would love to go to South America. I've been to Peru before and it was amazing. So hopefully.
While being stuck at home, so many people are turning to the arts more and more to lift themselves up, you know? So how has this sort of expectation to create amongst a pandemic affected you, and how has music lifted you up as well in this time?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think right now, like, we're all on our phones and we're all on our computers so much, and we're just so hungry for like something exciting and something new. You know, when Dua Lipa dropped her album, everyone was like, I mean, it's literally all I listen to, especially when I run. But, you know, I think like, yeah, we really want exciting new things to kind of spark up our day. And it is it's amazing because a demand for, you know, artists,
Yeah.
what we want, but it is a lot of pressure to be churning out, you know, content. And the thing is too, it's like there are so many artists in the world, big and small. So again, it's kind of like trying to find something that will make you stand out, that, you know, will get people watching you, because you could do a live performance, but it doesn't mean that many people will be watching because everyone's doing a live performance. You know, you look on your Instagram feed and it's like everyone's going live, so people kind of click through. It's like they walk through the door for a second, they walk through the next door, you know? So yeah, I mean, like, as flattering as it is to be wanted, it's also challenging to be like, okay, cool, like people are just kind of using me, I guess, a little bit for momentary pleasure. So yeah, I don't know, it's an interesting position to be in. Again, just getting used to kind of figuring out how, as an artist, like how you're doing emotionally, and making sure that you can kind of like protect yourself with that. And like, you know, I'd spoken about this the other day with another musician friend of mine. It's also interesting because, you know, when you're an artist, you're artist, and then you're person, you're your own person when you're not necessarily, like for me, like I'm Ralph, and I'm also Rafa when I'm with my parents and my family and my friends, and making sure that, you know, you're able to separate those two is also important, at least for me, again, so that I kind of don't burn out or lose my identity. So like when I'm hanging out with my cousins and my family and they're like, oh, like Ralph is here, I'm like, please don't call me that. Like, I need to be Rafa tonight at Thanksgiving. And, you know, now, because we're all at our homes, we're inviting people into our personal space, which has been, you know, like I did a closet walkthrough on a Friday night once, and it was supposed to be like a quick closet walkthrough, and then we ended up just like going through my purses and my shoes and my like jackets and, you know, my books, and it was actually like very fun because it was something that a lot of my fans had never seen, and I think it was like an interesting opportunity for them to be like, oh, like you read a lot, tell us about your books, what's your favorite book, like, oh, that's a cool bag, what's the story behind that? And, you know, it's just a new world, I guess, for me to be kind of exposing my personal house, my room, my Rafa world, and combining Rafa and Ralph a little bit more intricately. So yeah, I guess like a place that I didn't think that I would necessarily be in my artistry, but not bad, just you know,
just different,
a new different thing. Yeah. So again, I think like a lot of artists are kind of just like finding out how to kind of like continue to be their artist self while also maintaining their self.
Where is
it's like self-protection a little bit. Yeah, exactly.
You certainly are a mental health advocate. But, you know, advocacy looks different for so many people, so it looks a little different than a lot of our network here at Jack.org. But the ways that we advocate for mental health support, you know, they're crucial. And no matter what way you used to fight for better mental health support, it looks different for us all now, you know? It's changed. We're all working virtually. So how have you continued advocating for mental health right now while being an ally and a role model for your fans?
I mean, I think that, again, like, I feel like we're all unified in this interesting way where we're all experiencing the same thing and the same feelings, which is kind of like absurdly beautiful. So I've been trying to kind of like balance, like I've been posting on my Instagram a lot and kind of like, you know, documenting my days or the interesting part of my days, but I kind of like trying to find this balance between like humor and sincerity. You know, like taking like, I don't know, like posting funny memes and like posting funny things that I've done, because I think that like humor and laughing, you forget how helpful laughter can be, and like the feeling of laughing. Like yesterday I saw this like funny thing on TikTok, and I like actually like by myself like laughed out loud, and it was such a nice feeling. And so I think like I want to share that and kind of encourage people to keep like laughing and keep finding humor throughout their day. And then also like, yeah, like touching upon more important things and encouraging, you know, encouraging people to stay safe and stay healthy and stay inside and, you know, not like, I know it's nice out, but like, don't be too social. So I don't know, I guess I'm trying to like make myself as vulnerable and kind of like relatable as I can so that people know that I'm going through the same things as they are. And I don't know, trying to answer as many like messages as I can from people, especially the ones that are more like important, you know, important messages that maybe need a little bit more attention. So yeah, just trying to like exactly like be an ally, I guess, and trying to kind of make myself as available as I can,
especially on social media, you know, where everyone is, like you said, posting only their best selves, like letting them know there that it's totally okay to not be okay right now and just like
totally
do what you can, you know.
Totally. And like everyone is like, you know, chilling at home and like wearing sweatpants, and like when I go for a run, my bangs, I was thinking this the other day, like I was biking and my bangs, as I cut bangs, my bangs were like this. And I wanted to post a funny like picture or video of what I look like when I bike, because I was like, I look hilarious, you know. So it's like also just like finding the humor in the fact that like, yeah, I like wear my Uggs every day and like my bangs look funny when I bike, and like, you know, just like breaking down that like fourth wall of like,
for sure,
look guys, you know, we're all real people and we're all doing the same thing and we're all wearing our sweatpants
in our best.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I think that like is important to make sure that people feel that like we're not all TikTok gorgeous, you know, ready.
Unfortunately.
I don't know. No, I know that is a crazy new world that I am.
I don't have TikTok, but my dad has TikTok just to watch all the videos. So every so
often,
oh my god, sending me the best.
That is so impressive. My dad is on my TikTok. My dad is on my TikTok because I post videos of my dad and our dog doing tricks. So yeah,
that's so good. Oh my!
That's what you'll find on my TikTok, guys.
So we've got another question sent in from someone in our audience. They're asking, how do you think the connection with fans will work without live in-person shows?
I think that you just have to work, like, then it's up to the artist to work on try to figure out other ways to make people feel connected. So, you know, trying to answer DMs. And again, it's like, it's not, I don't think that it's like, it's never that an artist doesn't like want to answer DMs. It's just that like, I think, you know, you have to remember that it's a lot of work to like answer a bunch of people who are, you know, especially people who you even like recognize from shows and who matter to you and are like, you know, you have patrons of your art. You want people to feel respected and seen. So when you're like, for me at least, when I answer questions, I'm not just like, hey, thanks. You know, I like put time into answering and to talking to people, and then you open that dialogue, and then that dialogue kind of continues. So I think that it's a lot of it is self-protection again, and making sure that you don't burn yourself out by trying to like be the best, you know, artist you can be and trying to interact with everybody. So I think it's going to be like, trying to answer questions, but also like maybe taking a day off. I don't know, posting pictures on Instagram that maybe ask a question and then people can kind of comment on it. And that is a good question. Live is a weird way to interact anyways, because, you know, I'm not actually interacting with you guys. I'm sort of seeing your comments, but I'm not seeing your faces, and we're not having like a real interaction. So it still doesn't feel quite the same. You know? I don't get the same like fulfillment that I would from a show. But I'm curious to see, like, there might be like really amazing like apps or like new ideas that kind of come out of this quarantine time. So who knows? It
definitely like leaves you with like making the decision again of like, Whereas the balance, like, where do I get to be Rafa? Where do I get to be Ralph in
Yeah.
like that digital space as well?
But I also need to like respect myself and make sure that like I'm doing okay and that I'm not kind of like trying to live my life to please others, which is definitely something that like I've always been a people pleaser. And like even when it comes to like the Patreon stuff, like I take like 2 days to do one sketch for one person. And you know, like my friends will be like, you don't need to spend 2 days doing a sketch. Like they'll appreciate it if it's just like a 1 day sketch, but like I can't do that. I just am someone who like if I'm gonna do something, I'm doing it 100%. I'm not gonna half-ass it, you know. So
yeah.
Awesome.
So what is your final song for us?
So we're gonna do a cover. Awesome. It's a Radiohead cover. It's called High and Dry. And I guess like to me, Radiohead is a band that I feel like I've listened to like forever. I feel like they've been around for so long because they've kind of got these like variations of style and sound. And I like that their music to me always elicits emotion. Like to me, their music is very emotional and it's kind of abstract, which is cool. So it's kind of be like background noise, but even when it's background noise for me, I still like, I feel a feeling when I listen to a Radiohead song. So I've actually done a cover of a Radiohead song before. I've done Creep a long time ago. Yeah. And again, like the lyrics are super weird in Creep and people were like, I'm sorry, Ralph is doing a cover of Creep? And I was like, yeah, yes. So yeah, anyways, High and Dry was a song that we both liked. And just like kind of like evoked emotion and felt kind of like beautiful and sad and confusing, which is maybe like a good analysis for a lot of the feelings that we've all been going through.
Yeah, for sure. Oh man, I'm really excited for this one. I'm a big Radiohead fan.
Aren't we? Oh, honestly, if you don't like Radiohead, I don't know what to say.
Yeah. There we go. We're back.
Sweet dinner.
Oh yeah, there it is. Two jumps in a week. I bet you think that makes heaven, don't you, boy? Flying on your motorcycle, watching all the ground beneath you drive. Push yourself for recognition, push yourself, don't ever stop. You've broken all the mirror, you're turning into something you are not. Don't leave me high, don't leave me dry, don't leave me high, don't leave me dry. Dying out in conversation, you will be the one that cannot talk. All your insides fall to pieces. You just sit there wishing you could make love. They will be the ones to hate you when you think you got the world all sussed out. They're the ones who spit at you. you'll be the one swimming out. Don't leave me cry. Don't leave me cry. Don't leave me cry. Don't leave me Good job.
Got through that one.
That was wonderful. Thank you so.
It's funny because
so very much. That was beautiful.
I googled that song right before this because I was like, what's this song even about? And then I found out that the band actually hates that song. Like, Radiohead thinks that it's a bad song. They were like, we wish we had never put that out. So apparently me and Steve have zero taste, and you too, Taylor. And that song sucks. So, yeah.
I guess we're wrong. We must be wrong.
I feel like
Radiohead thinks
you know
we're wrong.
what? Radiohead also isn't like the be all end all. Like, they don't know everything. I think that some of my songs suck, but you know, you might disagree. So, anyways, we're artists. We're just like, we hate everything. Thank you so much to Taylor for hosting this, and to Jack.org for, you know, advocating mental health always, but I think especially right now, so important. And I look forward to all of the future music programming that you guys do, because I think that's such a great way of, you know, having mental health spoken about, but also including something that is so pleasurable. So thank you for having me kick that off, and I will be watching everyone else who does the music thing. So thank you to everyone who's watching right now. You guys are so great.